Okie dokie, so today we have a push day, and while I'm warming up here, I want to quickly answer the question I got from a viewer, which is when is the cut gonna start? And oh boy, I have to disappoint you. Like it's still months away. Like right now, I've been bulking for 4 months and a bit. I'm at 73 kilos, still 2 kilos to go, and I do not plan to rush on gaining that weight because, in my opinion, the more or the more slowly you gain the weight, right, the more of that weight is gonna be muscle. If I were to put on this muscle in like a week, right, it's all gonna be fat and water weight. And trust me, I could just, go to the buffet and have a ton of food and weigh 75 kilos the next morning, but it's not gonna hold meaning. It's not gonna result in strength. The reason I wanna bulk is to become strong as hell. I want to gain strength in general on this bulk. That's the point of me doing it. So if I just go out of my way, rush things, everything's gonna be fat. No, I want it to be muscle, right? So I'm gonna take my time with this bulk. It's gonna take more than half a year for sure, but perhaps even close to a year until I, get to my ideal weight and all my strength goals as well. Because, for example, the squat, right? 75 kilos of extra added weight on the pistol squat. That's gonna take me a while, and I think that's okay. I'm just gonna take things slowly. And even after the bulk is done, I don't really plan on doing an actual cut. I'm gonna probably focus more on like cardio stuff and running, right? But I'm not ever gonna intentionally lose weight because I don't plan on being like 20% body fat when I end this bulk, right? I'll probably be somewhere around 12 to 15, which is a healthy body fat. So why would I cut? I feel like a lot of people, they just want to cut to be absolutely shredded. And if that's your goal, right, to be absolutely shredded, you just want to see if you can do it, that's fine. But for me, my goal is also to be strong, right? I want to train to be strong. And for that, you need some energy. And if you're in a calorie deficit, maintaining single digit, like 8% and below body fat, you will be more tired at all times. So it's not ideal to make gains. Yes, relatively to your body weight, you will be strong, but like overall, I think you will see a lot of exercises. For example, in my case, the pistol squat, go down in performance. You will have less energy throughout the day. The T levels will go down, which is not something that I want to experience. I have experienced it a lot in the past because, I've mentioned this before, but I've spent the first 7 years of my training, and really, like from like 10 years to like 16 years as well, like even before that, I've spent my time trying to be as skinny as possible because, I was always thinking like if I'm skinny in judo, I get to go in a lighter category, which is advantage. It's an advantage, right? So I try to stay skinny all the time, I've experienced the fucking veins on my stomach. And sure, it looks cool, but it doesn't feel cool at all. Unless you're looking in the mirror, that shit, it's tiring, to go up a flight of stairs or something. It takes more out of you than when you're just at a healthy body fat. So for me personally, or what I would recommend is, unless you just want to do it for the challenge, don't go for the fucking single digit body fat cuts, If you're around 15% body fat, you can just maintain your weight or gain slowly, gain like half a kilo to a kilo per month and just go from there, because then that way, most of the weight you will gain is muscle, and that's in the end what we all want. You're in a bit of a calorie surplus, you have energy to train, you feel good, your T levels go up. There's not that many downsides besides not having a shredded six-pack to impress your homies. But anyway, today is a light push day. I'm gonna start with some clean sets, although I will put some weight on, so I'm just gonna put the weight on and try to do it cleanly. But yeah, today will not be too intense because I want to recover from last training where we went harder than last time. So yeah, I'm gonna do the remainder of this warm-up and let's get started. That's not too bad. Hold up. Hold up, hold up, hold up. Okay, so the last sit was not too bad actually. You know, I feel tired, but it somehow worked. I'm gonna see if I can spam the push-ups a bit more and go into a press. All right, I think that's quite an improvement. Train hard, study well, and eat and sleep plenty. That's the Master Roshi way. I'm gonna see if I can do like a cleaner set of a small hold into a press. We don't need a lot today. Oh. We don't need a lot today. Today I want to be short and sweet, you know. Some intense sits that will fire up the nervous system, but not too much volume, so that I can recover as well, you know. Get into the next cycle of training. So yeah, one more set with this weighted stuff, and then move on to the next exercise basically. But very happy. All right. Whew. Okie dokie, let's do a floor planche sit. Just one probably, because like I said, I want today to be short and sweet, but let's make it, or try to make it, an intense one. All right. Whew. We are moving quick today. Let's do some accessories for the forearms. Okay, so it's gonna stop at 4 sets of planche today, which is not a lot, but they were intense, so I think they worked. And you know, trimming down the volume just a little bit will allow me to recover from the last hard training I had. You know, what goes up must come down, but it's the trick to always, you know, make sure it doesn't come down as much as it went up, and then in the end, you know, the curves will go diagonally upwards in the long term, right? But for now, I'm gonna do some accessories because my planche has been getting stronger apparently, you know. I was not able to do sets like this before, so very happy with that. But when your planche gets stronger, you know, your bicep gets stronger, your shoulder gets stronger, you also need to take care of the smaller muscles, which I'm gonna do with the accessories, you know. I used to struggle a lot with forearm injuries, so I want to keep my forearm strong so that I can prevent those injuries from happening, you know. A strong muscle, a strong body part is less likely to get injured. And since I've been doing these forearm exercises, basically I haven't experienced forearm pain anymore. Whereas before, you know, I was training planche for 2 weeks and then I had to stop for a couple of weeks because it was just hurting. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this dumbbell I have here. The weight is all on one side. I'm gonna grab it here and then lift it up basically. You'll see in a moment. But what this does is it activates, you know, in your planche, you're doing, you know, you're trying to stay as high as possible in your planche. You're squeezing all the pressure. If you like push one arm up against the other, you will see that like there's pressure coming onto this part of the forearm and the bicep as well, obviously. That's my timer, you know, but this part tends to be a bit weak in people, or at least for me it was. So by training this one, you know, I can make sure that it doesn't get injured. So if you're having troubles in that area, definitely give this lift a go. Start with like a really light weight, even like a kilo. This is 4 kilos. And basically do it for like 2 to 3 sets of 20 to 30 reps, you know, until that doesn't hurt anymore. And when that doesn't hurt anymore, you can lower the rep range up the weight and get your forearm basically strong as fuck. So let's do one set here. Alright, and you really want to focus on keeping your arm straight, or as straight as possible, and then pulling like the fucking thumb here, this part, up towards you. And then you'll feel it burn. And I'm gonna do just one more set here. Usually 2 to 3 sets is enough. You do it every couple of days. You know, gradually increase the reps, increase the weight, and before you know it, your forearms are bulletproof. I've been skipping this one a bit too much lately, so I'm gonna pick it back up because it's a very good exercise. Okay, so let's see if I can make a bit use of the natural lighting to do some poses. Yeah. I mean, I'm not super pumped today because it's just planche and it's mainly like the shoulders and a bit of the biceps and get pumped doing those, but also like the volume is not that high, right? So not super pumped today, but I still feel good, you know? And the reason I feel good is mainly because, you know, I felt the progress. Of course, it's nice seeing like a little pump and a physique check after the workout, but for me, like just making progress in the fucking movement you're training, like focusing on one movement for like push pull and then your leg stuff, you know. You also have push pull and leg push pull for your legs basically. You have push with the quadriceps and pull with the hamstring. But anyway, like you have those movements you focus on, and just seeing them grow is so satisfying. So it's kind of like being attacked by happiness from both sides, because at one point you have your physique, but on the other hand, you also have your fucking strength gains. And today, you know, I feel like I can be satisfied. I was mentioning it in the beginning, but yeah, bulking, it might not seem like a smart idea for skills. And to a certain point, you know, I agree. But like cutting is not always the answer. Yes, you will get lighter, you will get like stronger relative to your body weight. But I think that's mostly short-term gains because you drop down in your weight, you know, you get weaker because you're in a calorie deficit, and at some point it's gonna catch up to you. So you have like this ideal body weight you can find, right? It's not like the absolute most shredded that you can be, but it's also not, you know, the most bulked state. Like there's this in between where you will operate, where your relative strength is the best. So even if you're doing skills, right, that's your only goal. Don't try to just be as skinny as possible. That's never a good idea. You know, try to keep yourself light if you really want skills only, and that's the only thing you care about. But don't go to the extreme because you need energy to train, right? Especially if you're not in like peaking phases, just throughout the year in your off season, let's say, right? And that's for anyone, right? You can't always be peaking, but if you're just training around the year, right? Make sure you have enough energy because, you know, if you have enough energy, you can train hard, you're going to make more gains, and you also have more energy to recover. So basically, it's like a double win. You can train harder and you can recover harder. So you're going to make more gains. That's what I'm trying to say here. So anyway, that's it for today. Very happy with the workout as always. And tomorrow I'll see you for a pull day.